welcome. All right, some quick news. I just wanted to do an update. I woke up this morning and saw that Donald Rumsfeld has passed away of bone marrow cancer at age 88. And so I wanted to put a quick video together to talk about Donald Rumsfeld and who he was and how he came up in a lot of my investigations and into a lot of other things, not related to UFOs, but definitely important nonetheless. Some of my other research into stuff that got me looking into UFOs and really not trusting my government and really starting to realize what my government is and how it operates from behind the scenes, where it all came from back in the Ford and Nixon administrations, and how we got to where we are today, and some of these key people behind the scenes who do this kind of stuff. Call me on a fucking private number, please. Right as I start doing this show, I get a call on a private number. That is just weird. All right, I want to show you guys a bunch of old pictures of Donald Rumsfeld and talk about some of his history and past. So Donald Rumsfeld went to Princeton, and he was on the wrestling team there and got into politics. Was signed on as a low-level staffer in the he's really an overachiever. He went to he was, this kind of guy who would just do everything to succeed, and he did everything he was told. He was just a really obedient lapdog, and he was hired as a White House staffer in the Ford and Nixon administrations. This is his high school picture, and look at that jawbone. Look at that jawline on him. So yeah, he this is him more recently with Joe Biden. He was getting old, and he was suffering from bone marrow cancer and passed away on June 29th. And of course, now it's on the news, and we're talking about this is Donald Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney when they were staffers under the Ford administration. Hear them on a plane with Kissinger and Paul Bremer. I forget this guy's name. He's another senator. I forget his name. I knew at one point. Here's Donald Rumsfeld, Dick Cheney, and Richard Nixon in the White House. Here's Donald Rumsfeld and a guy named Frank Carlucci. Another important name and figure that comes up in a lot of this research we'll get into in a minute. Yeah, so let's talk about Donald Rumsfeld and some of the lesser known history that people don't know about. We're going to play some clips. I'm going to play first off, I don't know, this is one you should watch. I'm not going to play it because it's 9 minutes long and it's too long, but I've linked this in the description. And this is one of my favorite Donald Rumsfeld moments in history, is when he was confronted by Senator Representative Cynthia McKinney. And Cynthia McKinney grilled him on DynCorp and a number of other issues, and his responses were really quite comical and revealing, what he could answer and how they kind of snuffed the
smallpox in the Balkans that took place.
It's my so he's one of the things that people don't know about Donald Rumsfeld. So I posted a link to Donald Rumsfeld's resume. This you can find on CBS News, and a lot of interesting things that he did and worked for. He was the chairman and board of directors for a company called Gilead Sciences Incorporated. Gilead Sciences Incorporated is a biotechnology company in Foster City, California, and they develop antiviral drugs used in the treatment of HIV, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, and influenza. So they also developed, drugs that treated or would treat the symptoms of COVID as well, and something came up in that I saw, and that you guys can look up and research as well. So there's some connections there, but more importantly is this stuff from his resume. It turns out he worked for a number of companies, but one of the most interesting ones that I didn't know about, right, was that he worked for Solomon Smith Barney. Okay, this was in 2000, December 2000, when he was being considered as a pick for George Bush's nominee. He was considered as George Bush's nominee for the Secretary of Defense. And at that time in December, he was currently chairman of the Solomon Smith Barney International Advisory Board. which was interesting. He quit that position at Solomon Smith Barney when he joined the White House with George H.W. Bush. And Solomon Smith Barney is also known as Citibank. And if you know the research, you will know that the largest tenant who occupied 80% of the building in World Trade Center Building 7 was Solomon Smith Barney, that Donald Rumsfeld worked for. And this is probably my top favorite Donald Rumsfeld moment and video of all time. And I just want to show this because it's really quite revealing about this guy, how he lies through his teeth. He's a career criminal and a career liar, and a White House shill and staffer. Really one of these, horrible insiders that came from the depths of the Nixon and Ford administrations, and and has just slithered through the halls of Washington D.C. When you talk about the swamp in Washington, it literally centers around these people. When you talk about draining the swamp, this is the people they should have indicted and brought to trial. It's a shame that this man died without ever facing justice for the multiple crimes that he's committed against the United States.
Yeah, but there's a lot of controversy surrounding that.
Oh, is
it was
that
the
right?
third skyscraper that was away from.
I gotta go.
I gotta go.
I'm walking down the street yesterday in New York City, and down the block I see someone taking pictures. I run up and I see no one other than the former Secretary of Defense during 9/11, Donald Rumsfeld. And the first thing that came to mind was the very fact that he was on a national radio show and said he didn't even know what World Trade Center Building 7 was. So...
Good to see you.
Can I get one too?
Sure. I'd rather have my picture with that good-looking lady, but
You can get one too. Yeah. But I was wondering, have you heard of Building 7? Because there was like a radio show where you said that you never heard of Building 7.
no, I haven't. What's
You
Building
have-
7?
The third skyscraper that fell on 9/11.
Oh my gosh, sure. Now I remember.
Did you do some research into that?
No, I was busy with the Pentagon getting hit.
Of course. Yeah, but there's a lot of controversy surrounding that.
Oh, is
'cause it was
that
the
right? I
third
don't know anything
skyscraper
about
that was
Here we go.
away from.
I gotta go.
But really,
Look at the nervousness and sheer terror on his face when he was confronted with that question. Oh, I don't know anything about it, except for the fact that you worked for the number one tenant in that building, and you were chairman of their foreign policy advisory board. And you know who else served on that international advisory board? Was Dick Cheney as well. So to claim he's never heard of this company or Building 7 is absolutely insane. I mean, it shows complete, at the very best explanation for this, it shows a complete lack of competence of our government that he's not even aware that this third building collapsed on 9/11. And the fact that he posed for pictures and didn't answer. He seriously just straight up avoided the question. It's just revealing on so many levels when you realize that he worked in that building. He worked in Building 7. He probably went to meetings in the offices in Building 7. And here he is lying through his teeth, saying that he's never heard of Building 7. What was that? Oh, I was busy with the Pentagon. So let's talk about the Pentagon and what he was busy doing at the Pentagon. Leading up to, well, first off, the day of 9/11, it's kind of really strange what he was doing because instead of, let me see if I got the pictures here. So Donald Rumsfeld was actually right after the attacks. They're still putting out the fires. It's still smoking. The building facade hasn't even collapsed yet. You can still see it in the roof line intact here. And Donald Rumsfeld is out walking on the lawn, on the Pentagon lawn at that time. And there's pictures of him that he was, he left his office in the north wing of the Pentagon, walked out onto the Pentagon lawn and walked all around the west wing. There's pictures of him even picking up and hauling away luggage and bodies and materials from the site. Let me see. There's this one. Yeah, right here. So there's pictures of him carrying bodies and carrying, going and helping with the cleanup. So this is supposedly moments after the attacks when nobody knew anything. And if it was a real surprise attack, all these top officials would have been locked down and whisked away to bunkers to be protected. The fact that he came out of the bunker and is running around the Pentagon lawn, cleaning up debris and picking up stuff with a bunch of other military people and agents, what it looks like from the Pentagon, is just super, super, super suspicious, and it's never sat right with me, and I'd never heard an adequate explanation for what the heck was Donald Rumsfeld doing out on the Pentagon lawn the morning of 9/11, lifting up crates and hauling away bodies on stretchers. That should have been emergency personnel only. That the top brass and people like him should have been locked down and brought to a secure facility and kept somewhere else. I would love to have people who could identify the men in these pictures and get interviews with some of them and ask. This was the guy who was trailing. He must have been his security detail for Donald Rumsfeld. It'd be great to find out who this man's name is and what he was doing. And I would love to see if these people interviewed. It would have been great if we could have gotten, a court-ordered subpoena and gotten him to testify under oath, on the stand about what really happened on 9/11, because obviously he can't answer simple questions about Building 7. I'd be really interested to find out what else he knows. And then I found out about this. This is really, really the icing on the cake. This was something called the Armageddon Plan. Okay. And this was back in the 1980s under, I think, President Reagan. It was during the Reagan era. Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld were key players in a clandestine program to set aside the legal lines of succession and immediately install a new president in the event that a nuclear attack killed the country's leaders. So there's this thing called the continuity of government program. And it is all means and definitions a shadow government. It's a shadowy government with its own air force, its own communication systems, its own intelligence networks. And their job was literally to sit on this secret government board and sit on what are called disaster scenario planning think tanks. So for years, their job was to basically dream up the worst possible doomsday scenarios that could happen, and then plan and collect detailed intelligence to plan on how the government and military and FEMA and everything else would respond, and how all these cogs and the gears would work together during a real emergency, any kind of emergency. And it's undoubtedly that this is where I believe 9/11 was originally thought up and planned up, in these disaster scenario planning think tanks. If these people didn't think up multiple hijack scenario with planes crashing into buildings, if they didn't think up that disaster scenario, then they were not doing their job, point blank, right? So super interesting that these people sat on this classified secret government program, both Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld, and their job for like a whole bunch of years was to collect detailed intelligence on disaster scenario planning and government response, and how the government would respond in every situation. Really strange. And that has never been investigated. We found this one article in the Atlantic that talked about this, and the stories just died. I mean, this should have been blown up. This was from March 2004. And I'm ashamed of the media and everyone else for not covering, this kind of information. It's shameful, but also I understand, because it's national security implications, and a lot of people can't handle, like this kind of information. And it's like they know, I know too much now. I don't want to know this stuff. I don't want to know that Donald Rumsfeld, worked for a disaster scenario planning think tank during the Reagan administration, worked on the secret government operation that would take over in the event of that the president and vice president were killed in a disaster event, and that they literally worked in Building 7 as well, for Solomon Smith Barney, which was, Building 7's major, like, number one tenant. Anyways, that's the stuff I've learned about Donald Rumsfeld. You're not going to hear this information from the mainstream media. You're not going to hear it anywhere. I've linked to these videos in the description so you guys can go and watch these and learn a little bit. There's a lot of younger kids that weren't alive during the Bush administration, or were really young too young to remember 9/11. But I just want to bring them up some history, on the history of that. And also in remembrance of Donald Rumsfeld, I went and decided I got a whole bunch of people this morning texted me. So it said, hey, Donald Rumsfeld's dead. Did you hear about it? And they're all like, hey, what happened to your 9/11 videos? Because I had taken my 9/11 videos down because YouTube does this whole filtering process once you hit 100,000 subscribers. So before I went on Tim Pool and hit 100,000 subscribers, Tim Pool, who's actually in this video, I believe, right? This is Tim Pool in the video. When I went, and Tim Pool's, has Luke on his show and stuff. And Tim Pool advised me. There's Tim right there. You can see Tim right in the background. He was there for this. So ready, right there. There's Tim. You can see him. Tim advised me. He said, take down all your 9/11 videos because when you hit 100,000 subs, they're going to do a complete review on your channel. And with all that was right in the middle of COVID, with all the censorship that was going on, lots of channels were getting just deleted and all their videos and content removed. So I had taken down those videos and made them private temporarily so that my channel would not get purged because of the content of those documentaries and the decade of research that I pretty much did. Yeah, I started researching 2004, I believe, and I was into conspiracy stuff before I got into ever got into the alien stuff and the alien secret stuff. So the 9/11 stuff, I went and put those videos back up, so you can now find them on my channel. So if people want to go to my channel, they can now search for those documentaries, and I also link them in the description of this one. So those are back available and back up for people that want to access those and share those documentaries and that information and research with other people, now that Donald Rumsfeld has passed at age 88. So yeah, the purge, and I'm glad there's people here looking for knowledge, and man, Tim Pool could have done some. I don't think he's a fool, but he could have done a lot better. But he had good advice. But yeah, it's a shame when they go so young. All right, this is cool, man. Hey, thanks everyone who for joining. I just wanted to do a quick stream this morning, no longer than 15-20 minutes as was what I was planning for, because I do have to leave and go to work. But when I saw that news, and I was like, I got to do a quick stream and put this together, because everyone's going to be posting about Donald Rumsfeld and talking about Donald Rumsfeld, and so I wanted to share this information because, when I found out these facts about Donald Rumsfeld, it was just really revealing to, understanding the depths of this government and the deep state, and, what we call the deep state, and the swamp, really, the swamp monsters. This man was the definition of a swamp monster. An absolute horrible human being. And may God have mercy on your soul, Donald Rumsfeld. May God have mercy on your soul. The devil is not dead. There's a whole new group of swamp monsters brewing in Washington, D.C., just like Donald Rumsfeld, who are willing to do anything and everything for their masters. So do the research and you will see. Again, stay away from all the bullshit. This stuff's hard to find. It's impossible to find. I had to go to Luke's page and search specifically for that video. It wouldn't come up in results. So yeah, this stuff is, So here's to hoping Dick Cheney is next. Today is a happy day. All right. And let's celebrate. So thank you all for watching, and please share this video and share the links in the description and the news about Donald Rumsfeld, and make sure anyone anywhere in the mainstream media attempting to praise this man as some kind of national hero, or anything greater than the war criminal, lying sack of chicken hawk, war pig, demon that this man really is and was. Make sure that you leave in the comments and educate the lying mainstream media about who this man really was, who he worked for, and the lies that he told and supported for decades. So thank you for the intel, and yep, you're welcome for the intel, man. This is what I do here, man. a calculated destroyer of worlds. Yes, he is a war criminal, and it's a goddamn shame that he died before ever facing justice for the crimes that he committed, the 2-decade-long war in the Middle East, Afghanistan, and Iraq that he created based on false pretenses and lies. You remember that Donald Rumsfeld is one of the people that pushed the yellow cake and the Saddam has weapons of mass destruction lie that he was never held accountable for. So yeah, I'm not happy. He should have died in a prison cell. He should have died in a dungeon chained to the wall. Yeah. So anyways, that's all I have to say. Have a great day, guys.